I call the Cultural Committee to order at 9 o'clock. Would you please stand for Dear Heavenly Father, we have much to be grateful for this month of Thanksgiving. We're grateful for the veterans who made it possible for us to be meeting here. We are thankful for our ancestors, those who were on the trail and those who did not make it. We pray for those who are ill today, Lord, and suffering. We pray for healing. And I thank you for our beautiful day and for all the citizens that are here or on their way. We pray for safe travel. And thank you again for your gift of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Okay. Billy, would you give roll call, please?
Victoria Betzler.
Ani?
Joe Bird.
Ani.
Bill England.
Here.
Yvette Austin.
Here.
Jack Baker.
Here.
Carly Bezer.
Here.
Sean Crittenden.
Ani.
Don Garvin. Frankie Hargis. Wanda Hatfield.
Ahani.
Rex Jordan. Dick Light.
Here.
Curtis Snell.
Here.
Denise Taylor.
Here.
David Thornton. We do have a quorum.
Thank you. All right, I ask for approval, a motion for approval of last month's minutes.
So motion. I'll second.
First and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All right. We have a very busy day. This is the first meeting of a very, very long day, and I would like for it to move along rather quickly. And we, as you can see, we've got 5 departments represented, and I would like to change the reports order a little bit and ask our Cherokee Nation Language Program gentleman to come first instead of last. And we'll try to keep each group's about 10 minutes. And we have Chief John Ross and Roy Boney. Thank you all for being here.
Yo. You. I'll let John start here.
Siêu tỷ chỉ lão ấy, hiện nay ta chơi nó sẽ đầu cái lỗ sơ, hiện nay tỷ lịch tỷ nhiều nguồn ấy, nên chỗ giờ đi nhiều về từ đa số, cho cái về thì về này đó là tự chơi nó hết, sẽ nuôi lấy tự chơi nó hết, sa cố hữu từ nát cái khăn này cái ha, cái từ nát hết khăn này, về này đó là, như khơi về này đó là na skate nuôi tí ta, này cho lịch nuôi nát nữa. When I only go there, none no he not Jalactini one isk. The total laws go see na you tall. Tall you walked over at lowest. Hicks go a squog, needle jagger, hitch a cot, shoot us go shoot out. No need you in it all. So no stoke at lowest. Just to be briefly, council. Good morning. We had a consortium meeting in Cherokee, North Carolina, and unfortunately we didn't do much of translation. They took them to different important sites the Cherokees had, like the mounds and different places, and they toured all around the Cherokee nation over there. And it was a good meeting, but like I said, they didn't get a chance to do any word translations. In our Speakers Bureau, we had met twice. First meeting last month, we had 57 members of our members from communities and Cherokee Nation employees, and we had a pretty good attendance. And last meeting, we had a Thanksgiving dinner, so we have even had a better meeting. We had 66 people that showed there. But that's my brief report, and thank you.
All right, well, I'll start off. Last time we were here, we gave you a copy of that draft textbook for the Cherokee language. Since then, we've used that textbook to do a pilot with our community language classes. We've gotten some good feedback on that. We have a few changes we need to make on that based on the community input. The next goal that we have is to have do the recording process, so all the Cherokee phrases in it will be recorded with people like John, all the first language speakers we have on staff. And hopefully we want to have a complete version of this textbook ready to go to print early next year. We'll have to work out the logistics of how we'll get it printed and publishers and all that, but we're making pretty good progress on that project. Also, we had been piloting a new online language class. You know, Ed Fields does one currently, but we have a lot of demand for online classes, and Wade Blevins has been doing this new pilot class. He's about to wrap up with this online class, and it went pretty well. We got some good feedback on it as well. He's been using that textbook too. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to start offering the second language class online as well, concurrent with our other ones, so people can have more choices and can kind of fit their schedule as well. Let's see, as John mentioned, we had our speakers bureau, and it's always great when we have Thanksgiving. A lot more people come out, so we like to see that. I went to the Intertribal Council meeting down in Durant last month for the Language Committee meeting. We're going to start planning for the annual Language Summit, which we have every year in a different site. Last year we had it here in Tahlequah at NSU. The committee voted to have it in Tahlequah again because of the good turnout. The dates for that are tentatively April 19th through 21st. It's going to be at NSU. And last year we had our Cherokee language debate, and we'd like to do that again, which it had a pretty good success with that. And John was one of the primary people on that panel there. We had one interesting bit of research that happened. The Arkansas Archaeological Survey came to Tahlequah to visit with us, and they were asked to excavate a site in Cane Hill, Arkansas. And there they dug up a piece of Cherokee type from a printing press. So they came over to verify that if this was Cherokee or not, which it was. So now we're in the process of working with them to kind of determine how that piece of Cherokee type got to Cane Hill, Arkansas, which is kind of neat to think about that. Most of our printing operations were in Indian Territory, so how did that end up there? We don't know yet, but we're trying to figure out and piece together the history there. One final thing I'd like to point out, if you're around or know people that might be interested, this Thursday at noon during the Lunch and Learn that Catherine Gray usually does, she asked Dr. Dwayne King from the Gilcrease and I to do a panel talk about the Cherokee Code Talkers. We've done a lot of research on this topic, so I'm going to be talking about the World War I Code Talkers, and he's going to talk about World War II.
Okay, good.
That's the end of my report.
Thank you very much. Anyone have questions or comments? Yes.
What's the objective? What are you going to do with the books? Like after you get them published, what do you plan to do with them?
The main plan is we used to give the CSA Write books to the community classes. We'd like to replace that with this. In addition, we'd like to have the books available to the public to buy if they wish.
That's what I want to know.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm not sure how we'll get there yet, but the first phase of it really is just to make sure that our community language class attendees get it.
Are we able to copy that? I didn't know if there was a copyright in that. Are we able to copy that?
That's a good question.
As long as we don't.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
No.
we don't mind people
Yeah.
having it.
I
I'd
mean-
like to just be able to print it and give it out for free if we
Yes.
have the means to do that, but.
Well, can I get another copy from you? Because
Yeah.
my house flooded and that was books, but it's about this thick now, so. But I can, would I get it from you?
Yeah, we can
Okay.
get you a new
Okay,
copy.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
All right. Anyone else?
I just have a comment. I'd like to meet with you guys real soon, see what kind of numbers you have for each county. We could even do it by district. We can talk about, doing a survey of all of our language, of our speakers. And you guys probably have a pretty good count. I know Rob Daugherty has his account. You guys have yours. I have mine. I'd like to compare notes and say, all right, these are we think the number of speakers we have in Sequoia County, Adair County. We can go by districts. We can just start compiling that, if we would, please. Okay. Well, though, John.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. And we will return back to the report list that we've got in our book on cultural tourism. Molly Jarvis is our next report.
Good morning.
Good morning.
have our report here for you. And an update on our capital projects that we're currently working on. These continue, as we've reported in the last few months. For the Capitol building downtown, Travis Owens, who's here with me today, has been working with the team and the exhibit designers, and we are in the process of working on that and should have some concepts for review in January for the interior of the Capitol. The Water Avenue Pavilion, this was will be the pavilion structure on the Water Avenue property. I am meeting with Chief Baker on Friday to review some design elements for that structure. The downtown cultural pathway here in Tahlequah, we continue to work on design work and working with Cherokee Nation on that as well. For the Saline Courthouse, again, we are trying to design a phase 1 that would be ready this spring and include outdoor restrooms, picnic area, and some trail development and signage. We had a very successful event hosted with Cherokee Nation, our government relations team, and communications last Wednesday when we had the signing for Sequoia's Cabin. So we are very excited to have that come into our area of responsibility and look forward to, I think, making some updates on the exhibit signage at the property and then opening and operating it in the spring when tour season resumes. In our retail operations, we just continue. We had a fabulous retail season or year last year, fiscal year 16, and Cheryl Trask is here with me today, and she does a wonderful job managing our 8 retail locations, but just had a record-breaking year with about 19% growth in revenue over those 8 sites. And you'll have to check out our winter apparel because it's in the store now. Museum promotions, the kind of viral social media campaign that has been going on for the last few years called Rock Your Mocks actually starts this week. So we encourage people to wear mocks and take pictures of them, post online. This is a campaign that's a national effort, and so just kind of fun. And we always have a moccasin making class around this time, which always is one of our best sellers, and have lots of people attend that. Then we'll have our first Cherokee Christmas display at the Supreme Court Museum again this year. And then wrapping up with our tours and events report, Cheryl's team had again sold out and was our very successful West to East tour that was in October. It was great. We had about, how many total people? 45 guests we took to Cherokee, North Carolina along a route and stopped and saw many historic locations along the way, and just was a phenomenal event. We will probably look at doing this about every other year with a shorter trip in between years. We're looking at a possible Cahokia Mountains trip for this year. Of course, we wrapped up the art market, great success again in its 11th year, and then for your calendars, NMAI event this year for Cherokee Days is March 31st to April 2nd, 2017. So we're moving back to that April timeframe when the Cherry Blossom Festival is in full swing, and we think we'll get a higher visitor count. And then we just are working on our fall education tours and have about 2,000 students come through there. And then our year-to-date numbers are there. I still want to focus on those community tours that are free and available to your communities. If you would like to get a group of about 10 or more to do those. We are also working with Barbara Foreman on doing some elder tours. And our first one will be out of Salisaw on November 29th, and I believe she already has a pretty good number of people signed up to take that. So please continue to share that information with your communities, and we would love to host them on a tour. Are there any questions for me?
Any counselors have questions? Yes, Counselor Britton.
Will you speak to that tour just briefly?
Which,
Just
The community
Yes.
tour? Sure. Basically, we've been offering this, and I can send you, we kind of have a flyer you can send out to your constituents, but we like to do 10 or more people from a specific community. We will come and pick you up on the bus if that's required. And the community is the tour is centered around Tahlequah, visiting the Supreme Court Museum, Prison Museum, John Ross, but we can tailor it to if the community is interested in a specific thing, we can include that or talk about a specific time period. But yeah, we definitely want our community folks out there and coming to see our museums and sites.
And also have a Cherokee partly owned the rodeo that was put on during the holiday. Does your department deal with the holiday, getting that on the schedule? Is it cultural tourism?
Not cultural tourism. We work with the organizers of the holiday here at the Nation. Are you talking about just the particular schedule, or?
They were interested in being on the schedule.
Probably Donna Tennant, their counselor.
Yeah.
Donna
That's
Tennant?
who was in charge of.
Yeah,
the-
she's in, we produce it as a piece of artwork, but we get the information from Donna's group. Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you.
I have a couple of things, Molly. Talking about the concepts for the Capitol and the cultural pathway, have we talked to any artists, specifically National Treasures, or anyone about possibly doing some outdoor art for that?
We haven't talked to them yet. I think we're still in the planning phase of where that would be and what we would need.
Okay. I would like to hear about that as that goes along, because I'm just so excited about the possibility of someday when people drive into Tahlequah, they see public art and Cherokee art in large size, not just, you have to go to the Spider Gallery or you have to go to the Heritage Center, especially for holiday. I think we need that up all the time to just focus on our arts and culture.
Yeah, public art is important, and we want to, this is a good opportunity for that.
Okay. And I guess my other question, you answered it with Sean's question. Do we have any plans to offer, this is offered to any community, so if I had some elders up in the North Counties, you'll send the bus to pick them up?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I can send that community flyer to Gail again.
Okay.
And then you can circulate it.
That would be wonderful.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah. I think that's, yes, Counselor England.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Molly, have you ever had any discussion about the Battle of Caving Banks up around the Tulsa County there?
I don't believe so.
Could you do some research on
Sure.
that?
And tell me the name again?
The Battle of Caving Banks. It was right there on just north of 86th Street North and Delaware
Okay.
Street. It was right there on Bird Street.
Okay, let us do some research. And
There's a
I'll-
monument and everything there.
Okay. And what are you particularly?
Oh, just wanting to make sure that the Cherokee Nation, because that was their war.
Okay. Make sure everything's accurate, or?
Yeah, and there is a cemetery just to the south of it too, so,
Okay, we'll take a look at that.
okay. Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes, Harley.
Molly, I know we have two visitor centers that I'm aware of. What kind of participants or attendance do you have in those? Is it, are they doing what we what we thought they would do?
Well, you're talking about the welcome centers that we
Yeah,
manage
the
from
one
the
in
state.
Tulsa and the one over in Kansas.
I think we took that over as a little bit of goodwill for the
Yeah,
state, of course, when they couldn't manage those anymore due to budget cuts. But I will say that the one in Kansas, we knew when we took
Yeah.
that over that it is one of the least visited welcome centers in the state.
Yeah.
And so what we have done, we can't do anything in terms of visibility, where
Yeah,
it's difficult to see
Yeah.
and get to almost. But what Cheryl's team has done in staffing and making sure that we just have a good offering there, a good retail product there. But I don't know that there's been a lot we are able to do to increase visitation there.
I would imagine the one in Tulsa probably does fairly well.
The one in Tulsa does well. the tag agency,
Yeah.
of course, boosts that participation. But I do think we have very separate customers. We don't see a lot of crossover between folks who are coming in to get a tag and then coming into the
Okay.
shop. There's not a lot of crossover.
And I know the one at Kansas, and I know when we took it over, it probably wouldn't perform like the one in Tulsa because it's kind of inconvenient to get to it.
It is.
I guess I was just wondering how many people we have staffing that and how many visitors. Could you get those numbers for
Sure.
us as far as the visitors per month or the last 6 months and something like that? And how many staff members we have that's occupying that site?
We usually have about 2 staff at each site.
That's fair. I'm just curious on the staff, on the numbers that goes to, get them for both if you would, for Tulsa and Kansas.
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Counselor Snell has a comment or question.
Oh, Molly. Molly, over the Slang Courthouse, we're still on track to get that, the interior done this year?
No, not the interior. The phase 1 of the courthouse that we're planning to do in the springtime would be exterior restroom facilities for use if people are there having picnics or using the grounds to walk or having some kind of an event there. We are still working on planning for the interior. But phase 1 would be exterior restrooms and picnic site and some trail improvement and signage.
Okay. Thank you, Molly.
You're welcome. We would bring any interior plans to this group and to an administration before those are complete.
Okay, is that it? Thank you, Molly.
Thank you.
Our next report will be from Historical Society, Ms. Tanya Weevil. And Tanya is the one that brought the books in front of you, and I'll let her tell you about that.
Good morning.
Good morning.
In front of you is a publication of the Cherokee Heritage Press. It's something that we've done for quite some time. Jack has been highly involved with that. And we publish books, if you know or don't know. And this is one of the latest that we've published. There's a small explanation on the front that gives you a list of some of our publications. The Moravian Diaries have been translated and put into several volumes with several volumes to go. It's one of the few first-hand accounts of Cherokee life in early 1800s. We have several projects on the go. One is a children's book, and we're real excited about that. So we wanted to make you aware of it, give you a copy, and let you know if you know of anyone who has manuscripts or any unpublished works that are deemed worthy of Cherokee influence. We'd be happy to review them for publication.
That's great. Thank you.
I'm happy to report that the 7-Star Gala was held on October the 22nd. Thank those of you who were in attendance. I appreciate your support. We raised about $27,000. Of course, our goal was $1 million, but it felt pretty good in the bank account to have a little cushion. We had Ancient Cherokee Days the 1st of October. We had about a little over 2,000 children and adults attend. We had a second event early November, which is not in your report, but we had about 1,700. So we've affected nearly 4,000 children's lives in just a short 4-day period. They were able to come to the Heritage Center and have hands-on activities at the site. That's an annual event we do, and it helps, again, it helps cushion our coffers again. I'm very grateful to our partnership with the Johnson O'Malley program. They send schools with their special project money fund, and so some schools are able to come at no cost. So I really want to thank Mark Vance and Tanya Bryant for their partnership with us to do that. It helps really make our event more successful. I'm also glad to report that our independent audit of Heritage Center finances was completed with no findings. So that's always a nice sigh of relief, but it's good. We currently have opening Saturday was the Anna Mitchell Legacy exhibit, and we're very happy to have that, and thanks to Victoria and friends for assisting us with getting that opened. There will be a reception Friday, the 18th at 6 p.m., and you're all welcome to attend that, to come and join us for the reception. If you have seen the OCO television episode for November, it's for veterans. It's really, it's so good. And our archivist, Jerry Thompson, is featured speaking about Jocko Clark, who was the most highly decorated admiral, and he's a Cherokee citizen, or maybe I'm telling you not quite exactly right. He's on our Walk of Fame. We have a bust of him right outside the atrium door. But nonetheless, he's featured in that, and our archivist, Jerry, was interviewed to participate in the telling of his story. And with sad anticipation, Orville Nugent, our jack of all trades, is retiring November the 30th. Orville was most responsible for building all of the structures in Delacroix. It was his design, no, it wasn't his design, but it was his construction knowledge and his work ethic that got all of those structures, including the big council house. He can do anything, and I will certainly miss him when he's gone, but he'll retire November the 30th. And last, I just want to say that we're beginning our annual membership drive. The Cherokee National Historical Society is funded by memberships. And if I had been thinking and on the ball, you would have all had a membership brochure in front of you. But alas, I failed to do that. However, maybe by the end of the year, it is your individual contribution that helps us sustain operations and the Historical Society in itself. So I'm asking for, and pleased if you already are a member of the Cherokee National Historical Society. And that's all I have.
I wanted to ask you about those forms. I will be out at the Heritage Center later today. Do you have some that I could bring back?
I do. I will have them packaged and ready.
Okay. Oh, great. All right. Any questions from any of your counselors or comments? I appreciate the job you're doing, Tanya. I know you have added responsibilities, and we do appreciate you. Thank you.
I probably should just conclude with the fact that we are continuing to be on the search for an executive director at the Historical Society. We're working on the details for that, and as of this date and time, there's no news to report.
And I have one more thing. Do you have some extras of these that we could give for each counselor? I don't think they all got mailed, and if you're not on the membership list, you didn't get one, or if you're not an artist, and they're lovely, and I'm thrilled that we have this, and it's a nice keepsake. So if you could get us, get them to Gail or give them to me today when I'm out there, and I'll make sure each counselor gets one.
Absolutely, I will. Thank you.
Thank you, Tanya. All right, our next report should be from Mr. Rob Doherty. Is he here? Oh, he is here. Community and Cultural Outreach. Welcome.
Seal.
Seal.
Seal and the God.
See ya.
Have your report and any questions or anything of the nature, anything with language. The gentleman will be coming up, anything with the language or anything with the cultural presentations. If you have any questions, it's certainly entertain them at this time.
I'm sorry, yes, Councilor Buzzard.
Rob, I was noticing the report on the satellite organization served. Is this the list in here now, just from this fiscal year 17, or just the one
Yes,
that
that's
served?
current. The ones that are current. We have two that are in the fold, so to speak, waiting for their to get everything through.
That's it.
So, yeah, that's current right there.
Okay.
For the at-large.
Have we ever figured out what it costs to put on these benefit or these meetings with their satellite organizations? Do we know what we spend per meeting on something like that?
For us, I can't speak for the other departments, but for us, it's travel, per diem, and what we also include in there is what we have allocated for each at-large for food and for the site. that they find. And and it's 500 for the food and 750 for the site, which we're beginning to find out that that's 750. Here in Tahlequah, we had no problem, but when you go to Los Angeles or somewhere, 750 won't get you a park bench. So we're trying to adjust. Mhm.
That's why we're always outside.
So we're trying to work with them to try to see where we can. We try to use some of the community type facilities where they welcome us to the most point, or at some park outside somewhere.
Yes, I've noticed.
So we never know where we're going to be. So it's just usually we want that particular at-large group to be the one to decide because they know their areas the best.
I know, I was going to check with Donnie. We had a meeting scheduled over to Uchi Community Center, and it got canceled, and I'm not sure it got rescheduled again. I'd certainly like to have. Oh, there's Donnie.
I'm working on rescheduling that with
Okay.
him.
All right.
We just felt like we didn't promote that
Okay.
well enough. And I spoke with Collis Buck
Yes,
there, and he
yes.
agreed. And so he had recommended their culture weekend this last weekend.
Yeah.
But they already had a full
Yeah,
schedule.
it wouldn't have worked then,
So,
yeah.
so we're going to be rescheduling that
Okay.
very soon. It's probably going to be after the holidays because November and December are very,
Yeah.
communities already have a lot of things going on. So in January, we're going to pick back up with
Okay.
local presentations and that sort of thing.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, well, I was just wondering about,
Okay.
I see there was 23 organizations that we do out there, so.
Yeah, and a lot depends on the travel cost.
Yeah.
We try to, and as much as possible, try to get the.
And I know it's not only your group that goes. I know we have
Yes,
several of them that
there's
go to
about
that.
3-4 of the groups that go. It's from their budget, so.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair.
Along those lines that Harley was just asking about, can you tell me, Rob, how many staff from your department normally go on these at-large travel trips?
We have a couple of groups that are not really organized as, because some of them travel. People tend to forget, like the Tucson group or wherever, some of the people travel 2 or 3 hours to be there, so they're not there in Tucson or wherever they're at. And sometimes they have a hard time getting together. When that arises, when they're having a tough time getting together, we'll take extra people because it takes quite a bit just to put one of those on. But normally there's about 5 or 6, 7 of us that travel. And because we have to load up the van, whoever's turn it is to drive. So, and we're always welcome for somebody that wants to drive. But we'll take turns with the registration because we have the most equipment and we fill up an entire van because it's the production, as I would call it. It's 4 hours, but we're there 2 hours prior and about 2 hours afterwards, just because most of the time we do have to clean up and stuff. But when we go, we probably, the most I think we've taken is when it was a newer group and they really didn't have their people together, and so sometimes we have to almost contact, Tammy is almost contact with them on a weekly basis, if not daily basis, to make sure everything is there. Because it's an event, it's to see, so any of you folks are invited to any of those at large, because it really does, everything is just processed for 4 hours.
Do you?
Sure.
Sure.
Yes.
We have generally about 5 people that travel, and those 5 multitask big time. So we load, we unload, we set up, plus we do the emceeing, we do we assist with food, we assist with every piece of that, everything that's needed. And when I first started about 5 years ago, I really started looking at how many people were going, what were their roles, and were they multitaskers? And so I'm not really sure, I can't remember how many were going in the beginning, but it was much more than 5. And so we have really looked at that program and looked at what can we do, what can we get the most out of our people with the budget we're given to make these really, really great meetings. The cultural presenters, they don't just go and make cultural presentations. They're also helping load, unload, and those sort of things too, and really helping take care of the people. And I think setting a great example of how Cherokees work together, how we're supposed to work together. And so we've really taken that number down, the number of people that go. We are very mindful of costs. We look for the government rates at the cheapest cost we can get, and those sort of things. We're not out there living extravagantly. Occasionally you'll see us driving and we take a picture of the beach that it may look like we've been there all day long, but it's probably just a 10-minute pullover, because I grew up in Kenwood and we got creeks, but most people haven't seen the beach. And so for me, it's also an opportunity to share those experiences and maybe even inspire people to say, look, you can make a living, you can travel, our culture is important, and you can do those things as well. So we've really just tried to make that, just kind of, because I know those questions come up, I really do. And also with the at-large budget, we talk about having a $1 billion impact now in the state of Oklahoma, and the programming budgets, overwhelmingly, those dollars still go to the people here. So the budget that is set for our at-large program, they don't qualify for benefits here unless they come here primarily, but we also let them know what is available in their areas as well. How they can access Native health care in their areas, social services in their areas, and so that's part of the program too, educating them about services as well. So we really just try to look at that program as a whole and costs, and try to give the best program we possibly can for the budget we're given.
I have been to a couple of your at-large. I did get to go to San Diego last year, and I was impressed with all that went on at that meeting.
Thank you.
Do you take the same cultural presenters each time, or do you have different presenters?
We switch it out, and this last time, recently, with Rob's suggestion, we added Noel Grayson from the Cherokee Heritage Center. He's fantastic. He can speak on again, multitasking. He can speak on a variety of things, not just one particular thing. And so people are just drawn to him. He's a wonderful speaker. He can get his information across and keep you, he knows how to hold an audience's attention. And so we move people in and out in that area as well. Pam Bakke is the one that has consistently traveled with us. I've never seen anyone that can work with that big of a crowd and where everybody is doing something culturally. She's just very talented in that area to be able to engage everyone, give them something to do. So at the end of the meeting, they're leaving with something they've made. And so she's consistently traveling with us because not everybody's able to do that.
And those two people mentioned, they don't work for CCO, they work for other departments,
Yes.
but we do the per diem travel and everything from our accounting unit, and we're so grateful to the different departments that will loan us, so to speak, people to go with us, because they bring a culture and awareness that it's really educational. They're really great, and it's not the same people every time, and we try to change up just. And sometimes we'll get that request from the at-large, Robert Lewis. If we get killed if we leave him here, all the groups and we for education and the Heritage Center and the HOSA programs, we thank them very much that they allow the folks to travel with us to do the presentations and stuff. And we have to limit them, because otherwise they could present for 30, 45 minutes they wanted, but we have to cut them pretty much.
Thank you.
Just a follow-up. I think this is a good thing that we're doing. But I guess I'm a little envious of some of those programs that you're putting out there, because we don't have them in our 14 counties, and we'd like to see them too. We got a lot of people up there that I guarantee would enjoy what you're doing.
Exactly.
At large, and we're not having them, but I know Donnie is starting, so that's a good move.
And that's the reason that we started this, because we, at one point, I thought also the same thing. I said, there's some folks up around Oak
Oh, yeah,
Hill that never
exactly,
had
yeah.
seen
I
it.
think we'd really enjoy it. and I'd like to see it,
Presentation with
yeah.
boat arc, boat arc bows and how to make them and so
Yeah.
forth, so.
Yeah, when I started, I was primarily assigned to the at-large, but I really
Yes,
wanted to work in the local communities too. But the message at that time was that there was this sort of belief that because you're here, you take advantage of local cultural program or you have a cultural awareness. And that's not necessarily
Not true.
true.
That's not
No, it's
true.
true.
Because we've gone through so many systems that seek to sort of take changes as Cherokees. And so there can be this in conflict about, the Cherokee way and the non-Cherokee way. And that's all a part of the culture too, not just things we make, but how we think, how we treat one another and those sort of things. So we try to bring that to the table as well, not just making things, but really getting people to think about what it means to be Cherokee. But I'm very excited to be bringing that programming locally now. And I've learned a lot in the process of scheduling those meetings. I scheduled 2 meetings up in Buell's area where I thought I would, I think in Keith Austin's area where I thought, we were in Buell's area. And so we're learning about the maps even, which quite frankly are very confusing. And so we're working on the local programming as well, so.
If there's any particular cultural presentation, they don't have to be all just arts and crafts, but if it's more academic but it's cultural, let Donnie know, so, and we'll try to accommodate that, because we have a lot of talented people on our staff, folks, not just CCO, but all the different departments, and I'm amazed every time at the knowledge of a lot of our people. You only read about it, then you hear about it, these presentations.
Thank you. Counselor Crittenden?
Yeah. Rob, you've been to a few of these. What would you say average, not just your department, folks that Cherokee Nation takes with them? What would you say?
The average number of people
Right.
that we, since it's local, it's usually like Donnie's presentations, it'll be just that person, and we try to go with the national treasures, but if we can't, she will try to find someone.
I mean, they're out of state.
At large.
At large, yeah.
Oh, gosh, registration
Registration will take
is,
maybe,
I'm not sure, no, it's,
and government
because they
relations.
had government relations,
because they do
registration.
Voter registrations, and they generally take about 3.
Education. I'm gonna say registration about 6 or 7, because they have to input on the computers for that data, and then other people. I'm gonna say about the same amount as us, maybe sometimes even more, because they get slammed.
20, 25.
Oh, no, they
No,
don't
no.
take that many.
No, they take about 8. Education will take 1 or 2, but they multitask too because they also take Miss Cherokee. So if Miss Cherokee's available, then they also act as a chaperone and promote education as well. And so
Secretary of State.
Secretary.
Government relations usually takes about, and they do a lot of the staffing for the chief at some.
Sean, you could probably,
maybe 3.
you could probably request that information from each department head.
Yeah, from each
because it
department,
varies
'cause-
so
Well, I
much.
just knew that some of these folks have been to a lot of them. I was just looking for a
Yeah.
roundabout.
I don't think there's a good number, probably, I mean, each
Yeah,
one's so
I don't
different.
know if I could give you an exact number, but for our department, it's usually 5, 6, or 7. And then registration, maybe 7 or 8.
All right. Thank you.
And I'm sorry, just know too, there's 10 meetings a year too. So even though we might say we have, and we do have 22 at-large communities, we combine those communities where we actually may only go out about 10 times because of the combining of communities, and about 7 of those are flying trips. When they're close enough for us to drive to, like Wichita, Kansas City, Dallas, we will drive as well, so.
Counselor Hatfield?
I just wanted to mention during the program too as well, or whatever you want to call it, a visit, we honor veterans
Veterans.
and an elder. Just following Cherokee, how we would do in Cherokee, the 14 county area, Cherokee, Tahlequah, Oklahoma. So that's real moving. That's very, very good. But I just want to commend this group too, because we do all help. Jack and I help. We fold tables, so it's, you know, it's a group effort.
Serve
And we could use more people, I mean, you know, but yeah. So I think that what you need to know is when we plan our trips, I look for the lowest rates and everything, because, yeah, it takes money to travel. But at the same time, you need to know that they appreciate everything, and I commend what we're doing.
Sure.
And I like the idea of it being in our community, you know, that we're going out to our communities, you know, in Oklahoma, and
Yeah.
so.
And I would like to
commend
add too that, you know, growing up in Kenwood, I'm aware of the problems and issues here we face as people. So I'm aware of budget, and so when I spend money, I keep them in mind. I have seen people, you know, in very bad shape in our community, recently even. So I'm always aware of that when I'm spending money, when I'm, you know, try to be mindful of the people's money, because I know it is the people's. And so also the groups are, one thing we have finally been able to do is move into this sort of a sister community program where the community folks are going out there with a little bit of the funding that they can get through one of our other programs, CADA. They're connecting community to community, where once a year At-Large has an opportunity to come here, and then we're sending some of the local people out there if they want to, because then there's this greater understanding between people and communities, and this realization that I had even the first year, just how many resources are out there in the at-large communities. When you live here and you grow up here, you think of all of your resources being here. You don't see what is out there. And as I've traveled, I've had at-large citizens say, you know, this was the first example where this struck me. My first year was in Denver, and a gentleman that was Cherokee said, you know, I have a friend that owns a ski resort. Wouldn't it be nice if maybe the seniors at Sequoia could take, you know, their high school senior trip there? You know, those sort of things that, so there are offers made by at-large citizens too, to be helpful to our people here. When we had the recent flooding in Chewy, communities were, when they would have their monthly meetings, they would gather, they would have people bring gift cards so people could, you know, use those in Chewy. So we're building on that as well. And so it's not just, we're just taking things out. We're trying to work on building this give and take.
Thank you, Donnie.
Yes,
Comment.
Good report, guys. I was just going to say, you know, Harley mentioned about how come we don't get this in our area. You know, council members, we have the resources here as a council to do this. Because they utilize a lot of our resources that we have within the Cherokee Nation, not just from their department. They can pull from JOM. Heritage Center people go out to various schools and do this outreach and education, cultural, almost on a weekly basis throughout the 14 counties. But I was thinking, you know, as comments were being made, when we decide to do that, we can put some strategy together where we can have in your various areas, you know, you're talking about Oak Hill, you know, Bellefonte, you know, we could take a crew like this out, but we have to come back and do a little bit of planning and put it in our budget, which, you know, it's priceless to make our people aware of who we are. We talk about the culture and education part of it. A lot of our rural areas, and I'm glad that report on Molly gave about the communities, those people are actually deprived. You know, our at-large may be more educated about some of the outreach stuff, because we live it and take it for granted in Kenwood and Marble City and Oaks and those places. So it's something we can put together. But, you know, I'll get with you guys on that.
Okay.
If we want to do it, council, we can put a budget together and utilize all our resources and make it happen. So with that, I say, well, Rob, a good report.
Yes, thank you.
Well, one other thing, Madam Chair, is I'm proud to say that one of the things we initiated just recently, when we go to these areas, we try to include, or at least let the people know who's traditionally that area that is. And this is culturally, it's really important for us Cherokees to do that. When we met with the Albuquerque group, we met at San Felipe Pueblo, and the governor and the lieutenant governor both were there at our meetings. They saw, and their eyes were this big, folks. They'd read about Cherokees, they'd heard about Cherokees, and they got to talk to our administration, our leadership, our group. When we went to Tucson, Tohon Otham, the Papagos they were known, their chairman came and welcomed us. When we went to Central California, the last time the Morongo, one of the cultural specialists for the Morongo tribe, was there on behalf of the tribe, and the Chumash in Southern California. We're going into their area of land. Traditionally, you didn't go there unless you had permission. And so in a roundabout way, including those folks whose traditional area that is. So we've started that, and it's really worked well. And now they're more aware of Cherokee Nation rather than just hearing about it on the news and stuff, reading
Right.
about it.
Thank you. We got one more report, so we need to
Okay.
get moving. Thank you all.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Vance.
Thank you. Well done. You got it.
JOM, Mark Vance. Good morning.
Morning. Just want to give you the update on the campsites that we almost have in stone, Camp Cherokee. We have Dwight Mission, No Water, and Rogers State on the dates of May 30th to June 2nd. Dwight Mission, No Water, Rogers State, May 30th to June 2nd. We're adding Jay this year, kind of a floater town. We're going to see how it works out. Jay in Kansas, Oklahoma will be June 6th through the 9th. And right now we're working with Tahlequah Briggs for June 13th through 16th. These are our day camps, grades 1st through the 6th grade, or 1st through 7th, I'm sorry. We get about 75 kids at Dwight Mission, 50 at Nowata, 150 at Rogers State. We're anticipating 60 to 70 from Jay. And around, we're going to ask for 250 at the Tahlequah camp. We're taking it off Sequoia because they're so busy during that month. We're going to try to go to Tahlequah or Briggs to get all we can. And I want to echo what Rob said. We use Robert Lewis. We use these people for these young kids, and they really do love it, and they really do enjoy it culturally. We do a lot of things with them. I think our planning is good. Chief Bird asked us to meet with Miss Pivek's crew, Hilton Nations, last time. Had a great meeting last week. They're going to help us with our residential camp because they have their own day camps. So we're kind of working with them. Mark Big Horse is going to work with us with all the training stuff with the MEMT people for our residential camp. So we're still a co-partner. We're still setting it up. And we want to ask you at this time, what would you like to see extra what we do or how we're doing it, or what would you like for some of your input for the culture side? I know that the at-large kind of takes a back seat to the Camp Cherokee, but we do get the surrounding counties, and we're trying to do the medical camp for you later on. So, Tanya, you got any questions for Tanya?
With the day camp, in the past, what we've done is we've asked the Heritage Center to bring staff to the day camp and ran the kids through that, and it kind of created a hardship for the Heritage Center to have that kind of numbers of staff away from the Heritage Center. And so last year we tried a new thing, and we bused the kids to the Heritage Center, and they experienced not just the crafts and not just the games, but they actually got to participate with the exhibits and through the museum, and it was a very positive experience. All the kids liked it. And so this year we have talked with Tanya about every site busing the kids in one day to spend the whole day at the Heritage Center. And so we think that'll work much better with the kids and just the overall experience. Also, we will have a history and language class. We've had that the last few years, and we'll continue to have that. Roy Boney helps us with the language teachers and the finance of that part. So.
I have a question about what did you say the number of the kids for No Water?
Last year we had about 50.
50.
Last 2 years.
Do any counselors have questions or comments?
Now we offer a bus if you have if you're close to No Water, if you need a bus to get bused in Barnesville, wherever, As long as you have at least 10 students, we'll pay a $600 stipend to get those kids there. So that always helps.
And you're talking about that one day?
Yeah, one camp for the whole week, yes. We'll use it for the whole week, but they have to have at least 10 students on the bus.
And when do the applications open? When does the public know about that they can apply for these?
We always release it on spring break.
Okay.
Would you send that information email to Gail?
Yes.
The applications and the dates on all those camps you talked
Absolutely.
about?
Where they're gonna
So we
be.
could have this information?
Yes.
Okay, anyone else have a comment? Yes, Councilor Light.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And that stipend thing to the schools, we kind of talked about that at the.
Yes, for the host site, yes.
And I kind of ran it, and the general sitting behind you, and sometimes the legalities and the insurance and the things on those school buses kind of shut us down.
Okay.
So I don't know if we could think of some other
Transportation?
method or, yeah. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Mhm.
But you had a good camp. They
Yes,
really enjoyed
absolutely.
it.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you for your good report.
Thank you.
Okay, old business, we have none pending. New business, none pending. Any announcements? We already talked about my mother's legacy exhibit, so I won't announce it again, but I just did. Anything else?
Yes.
Councilor Warner.
Yes, ma'am, thank you. I just want to say thank you to Donna Tennant, Molly Jarvis, and her crew. Jody Fishenhoff was involved. We had 3 national treasures, actually 4. Victoria showed up. We had Jane Ostie, Dorothy Ice, and Richard Fields. They did a wonderful job at Carl Albert, and we're always looking for new ideas, and anything in Carl Albert is very welcoming, as well as everyone there, so it was very well received, and I really appreciate it. It kind of helped us kick off Native American Awareness Month, and we're looking to do more. We have the current 3 Tribes exhibit, looking to do the Code Talkers and some other things, so thank you very much, all of those that were involved. Appreciate it.
I'm glad you stepped out and took that in hand and handled it well. It was a great group. Thank you. If there are no more announcements, ask for motion to adjourn.
So moved.
5-minute break.
5-minute break. We're adjourned.